I have an example for us to follow. Peter said it is good when he saw Jesus in all his glory. He said it is good for us to be here. And I think for you and me, it is good to spend time with God. And if it's good to spend time with God, then go spend time with God. But I want you to stop and I want to ask you, have you spent time with God? I don't want you to spend time with Pastor Josh. I want you to spend time with God. So I want you to stop the video if you've not already. I want you to read the passage. I want you to find your own space. Sin to avoid, promise to claim, attitude to change, command to obey, or an example to follow. And then I want you to make a journal entry. Yes, I do. For your benefit. You're going to forget all of these precious jewels that you have found from the Lord if you don't write these things down. So, the way that you journal, the system that we have in place, you find a scriptural insight, just one or two sentences, then you turn that into a prayer, and then you apply it. So, let me show you how I did it. The great transfiguration. If you remember at the end of the last chapter, Jesus said, he said, there are some of you here who are not going to taste death until you see the Son of Man coming in his glory. And I think what he was referring to is this great transfiguration. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John, his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves, only 3 of the disciples. You do see that there's a bit of an inner circle when it comes to Jesus's disciples. Of course, you have the crowds, as we have made this distinction in the book of Matthew, that are not disciples, but they do benefit from the great acts and miracles and teachings that Jesus does. Then you have the large group of the disciples that is beyond the 12, because obviously it's not just the 12 disciples that followed after Jesus. There are many, many, many disciples. So there was a big group of disciples that truly followed Jesus. And then you have a smaller circle within that, the 12 apostles, the 12 leaders of the disciples. And then you have an inner circle within that one. Then you have these 3, Peter, James, and John. And then, of course, even within that 3, you do have the ultimate leader being Peter. So Jesus takes his closest 3 to him, and he takes them up on a high mountain by themselves. And we're going to actually see it highlighted in purple there. Peter says, it is good for us to be here. Verse 2, and Jesus was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. What a magnificent thing that would have been to see. Friend, you'll see that one day when you see the Lord face to face, either when you pass away and you open your eyes in his glory, or Christ comes back. You will see this one day. Verse 3, and behold, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah. That's going to happen to you and me too. We're going to see Jesus in all his glory, and then we're going to get to see Moses and Elijah, John the Baptist, and Peter, James, and John, and all the other ones, Joshua, all the other great people of the Bible that you've read about. You'll get to talk to them and see them. Isn't that great? And then verse 4, Peter said to Jesus, it is good that we are here. This is our example to follow that I'm going to piggyback on. And then Peter said, then he turns to a sin. So we could have easily made this not an example to follow. We could have made this whole reading a sin to avoid, because Peter says something really silly after he says this really good thing. He says, if you wish, I will make 3 tents here. What he's saying is 3 tabernacles, 3 temples here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. So he's adding gods now. Very poor choice, Peter. Verse 5, he was still speaking when behold, a bright, and Peter's just not talking, right? Here he was still speaking when behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, this is my beloved son. Not Moses, not Elijah. This is my beloved son, with whom I am well pleased. Remember, this happened also at another time. It happened when Jesus was baptized. So he said, this is my beloved son with whom I am well pleased. Listen to them. And when the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces. So there's something about the voice of God that they heard that just caused them to fall down on their faces, terrified. And then Jesus came and touched them and said, rise and have no fear. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus, the powerful Jesus that we have to see Jesus in all of his glory. So scriptural insight is that you and I can make a trip up to heaven every single day when we open our Bibles and have our quiet time. It is good for us to spend time with God. Peter said it. We see it displayed right there. And so my prayer that I turned this into is it was a prayer of thanksgiving. Doesn't have to be, or it could be a prayer of adoration, prayer of confession, prayer of thanksgiving, prayer of petition. That's why I really want to encourage you to do your own, because you need to apply it to your own life. There's something in this text that you need to find for yourself, not what I'm putting before you. So thanking Lord, thank you for these quiet times of worship. Thank you for my personal quiet times. Remember, I want each and every one of you to spend at least 15 minutes with the Lord by yourself, in the Word, interacting with it, and doing these journals. These are sweet times that the Lord is showing things to you. And then here's the application. It's an example to follow. I will be like better. I think it should be, I will be like Peter. I will be like Peter and say, it is good to meet with Jesus. Yes, it is good to meet with Jesus. So the mornings that you don't want to do your quiet times, you need to say, oh, it's good for me to meet with Jesus. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Uh, and then you'll find that it is a joy to be there. And even if it's not like, oh, you're just like, oh, see Jesus in all his glory and everything, and it kind of did seem to be hum ho or whatever, it wasn't really hum ho. It really helped your soul. And I went ahead and said, I will do it, for I know it will be good. It's good for my soul. Not only did I have a quiet time this morning, but I also got up this morning and I exercised. Oh, I exercised for 30 minutes. And did I want to do that this morning? You better bet your bottom dollar I did not. But I did it anyway. And I was very happy when it was over. I was very happy that I did it. It's the same thing with the quiet time, except with the quiet time. Oh, so many times we're very sad to say goodbye and enter into this world and the various responsibilities that we do. It is good to spend time with the Lord. I pray that's been a blessing to you, and I'll see you in the next video.